Thank you. Ho, 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 ho. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here too. and I want to thank you all for coming, and I want to thank my dear Kyria for pulling all this together. I don't know how the hell she did it, but there we go. I learn more as time goes on. I said to somebody the other day, the last time I looked, I was 17 years old, and I was in Martha Graham's class, and I was trying to figure out how the hell to do a plie and what it was. And all of a sudden, here I am at damn near 90, 4 days away, and well, I still worry about the plie, but it aggravates me that I just can't quite get up and do it, but I've done it in my head so many millions of times that I figured I've made up for it. So, you know, I put that mark on the wall, did that, did the plies. As I remember walking into the room the first time I saw that woman move, I thought, my God, is there anything in the world like that? Nobody moves like that. As I said, I don't mean to compare myself at all, but I think since the day that I came out of the womb, was able to move any way I wanted to move without question, and I never thought about it. And I always did move like a cat. I borrow a little bit of my dear friend Kathy Grant the other day, her cat work, and I think Kara, who taught about it yesterday, a cat. I moved like a cat. I love cat. I have a house full of cats. I watch those cats. And it's interesting to watch them. If they fall down, they get pissed off, you know. Cat, no, we don't like awkward. We don't like, it's got to be right. So the other thing that's interesting, aside from Kathy's cat work, I studied with a man, Neishi Nomura. Some of you may have heard of him, maybe not, a brilliant Japanese teacher who used to teach very much, well, he had cats in the room, in the studio all the time when we worked. And there were two lessons. I know you've heard the one that he always said, he didn't speak good English very well, so he would, if we were on the floor and he wanted to come up from there, he would say, and so to up. I don't know how many of you have heard me say that, but many, many times. And that was his big thing. And so to up. And you came to know what so to up meant. It meant, and so to up and a raise. And also, he had 3 cats. And they were on the bar. And they were moving around from one place to another. And if he didn't like the way you did something, no. Look at cat. Look at cat. See how cat. See how cat go. See how cat. Cat don't go like that. Cat goes like that. Cat does that. And that was another marvelous thing. But I had also, before I studied with Joe, with Martha Graham and Eiichi Nomura and Alma Hawkins. It was all about movement. And it was not about exercise. And dear Clara, even, used to say, this is not exercise, this is movement, with her German accent. The first thing that I learned, and I'm going to bring this out again, once again, is about the spine. I had done a tremendous amount of dance. And I was a very well-known dancer on Broadway and had done many shows and was considered a good dancer, except that when he put me on the reformer, and he said, "Here, put your butt here." He put his fingers under my tailbone, and he said, "Roll back, and one bone at a time." And so I tried to put one bone at a time. And they're more than you think, you know. There's 27 is a lot of bones. And trying to, and what amused me and the amusing part, but he kept saying, with the German accent. Don't step on my finger. Don't step on my finger. So and I used to teach that, and my teachers still do, I think. One bone at a time. Let's not get the whole thing down. Let's roll one bone at a time, because there's the whole story is in the spine. I've spoken a lot about Clara and Mrs. Pilates. She was really the best, she was the better teacher of them, of either one of them. She really understood the work better. His concept of it, almost like animal concept. Do you understand what I'm saying? It was so organic, his feeling. Now, I later on when it came around, and a lot of people fussed about me changing the work and so forth. Joe didn't have a turnout. Well, so he didn't have a turnout. When I started doing the work, I made a turnout. and a few other little things like that didn't really destroy the work, but rather added to the work. But Joe did work rather athletically. Clara, on the other hand, wanted more movement. And I was just in that lucky and happy place of having come from Graham and from Nomura and from these people who were moving. They weren't exercising, you know, and they weren't doing things like that. And so I stayed there, and many of you know something about I stayed there, and I combined Graham and Nomura and Alma and Joe and Clara. I put them all together, and as I said, they spelled mother. I put them together, and they spelled mother.